Edmund Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Wandavision Season 1, Episode 4, and my thoughts on this episode. Now I'm going to start off by saying I didn't do a review last week because I wasn't really interested in the show. I'd kind of given up with it, and well, 1 and 2 had pretty much showed me that this show wasn't made for me. It was more of a sitcom show, and I don't really watch that sort of stuff, so I pretty much said to myself, okay, I'm done with this. Enjoy whoever's going to watch this show. But today I didn't really have that much to do today. And I decided WandaVision's on, why not give it a try again? See if the show has changed, see if something's happened. And looks like I was right. Because I watched today's episode, and I gotta say, amazing. It's an amazing episode. You find out a lot in this episode, and I'm just pretty shocked at what we found out, because we all thought, or at least I think most people thought, Wanda was being held against her will, or this was a trap, or something, some bigger power has taken control of wherever Wanda is. But it turns out Wanda has stolen an entire town and is keeping them as prisoners because she's trying to live out some sort of fantasy with Vision. And that's really interesting story. I think the best scene in this episode was when we saw the real Vision. And when I say real Vision, I mean dead Vision. Because for 1 second, Wanda loses a little bit of control and sees the real Vision. Because I think Wanda has taken Vision's body and has somehow restarted it. And that's what and that's why Vision is the real Vision. She somehow brought him back to life, just not back to what he used to be. And maybe that's what's made her go crazy or go into denial. Maybe that's why she's taken over in this small town, because she can't deal with the fact Vision is dead, or she'll never get the real Vision back. And I think that's an actually really great story, but that's what I'm thinking. And in the third episode, you started to see a lot of this breakdown because of characters doing weird things. One character's cutting a fence open. So yeah, Wanda is the bad guy now. And Vision questions a lot more than Wanda does. So I don't think Vision is a part of this fantasy. I think he is sentient, and he has no idea what's going on, because again, he's questioning people at his office, he's questioning neighbours, he doesn't understand what's going on. But Wanda, I think she's starting to lose more control over this fantasy world, because Sword has surrounded the place and are sending in drones and are sending in people. We find out who the beekeeper guy is. It turns out that's an agent of Sword. I'm guessing Sword's a replacement for Shield. Sword and Shield, fair enough. But yeah, it's a really compelling show now. To put an Avenger as the bad guy. Because I think I've heard through rumours that Doctor Strange is supposed to be appearing at the end of this show, because Wanda's going to be the big bad guy for his movie. Now that's pretty interesting to me. Hopefully it does happen. But also in this episode we get introduced to people like Rambo, who is an agent of Sword, but also was affected by the snap, or the blip as they call it, because she wakes up in a hospital where her mother was apparently coming back from surgery, But when she wakes up, we start seeing all this weird stuff happening, people reappearing. It's all gone crazy in this hospital. And I kind of got to give the episode more credit here, because when we see people return in Endgame, you don't really see the mess that brings. Because in the movies, they kind of deal with that very quickly, which is very stupid in my opinion. But in this episode, we get a short scene of it, but you start to see all the crazy stuff that can happen when people just disappear and then reappear, and all the emergencies that's going to cause, which I liked. So Rambo doesn't really know what's happening to her. She thought she fell asleep, but she's running around the hospital. She bumps into a doctor who's very surprised to see her, and she asks about her mother. It turns out her mother unfortunately has died. When she receives that information, she's obviously heartbroken about it. But then when then she's told that she's been away for like 4-5 years. So that makes the situation like worse. So it turns out Rambo is also a member of the Sword. Apparently she was the director of Sword before she disappeared, and the organisation was created by her mother, who died. But when she was gone, the organisation selected this new person to be in charge, or the director of Sword, and she's now trying to get back to normal life after the snap, and she then gets sent to find a missing person with the FBI. When she's sent off to meet up with this agent, turns out this is Agent Wu. If you don't know who Agent Wu is, he's the FBI agent in Ant-Man. So they're bringing back returning characters. He explains to Rambo that he's looking for a missing person who was in the what's that program called? Witness protection program, who has disappeared. But the story gets weirder, because turns out an entire town has disappeared, because the two local sheriffs don't remember or recall a town in this area, even though they're next to the fucking sign. So Rambo decides to send in a drone into the town to see what's going on. When she sends a drone into the town, it disappears. And I will give the episode a little bit of criticism here. It's like, okay, a drone disappeared. Why would you put your hand in something weird like that? Because Rambo puts her hand into the weird, what would you call it? Like goofing or barrier. She puts her hand through, but then ends up getting sucked into it, and then gets trapped in this town with everybody else, because Wanda has taken over this entire town and covered it into some sort of bubble thing. And everybody who is in that bubble is somehow, I think they're just trapped and just playing along, because if they don't, maybe Wanda kills people. Because maybe she's that far gone now. Like, she needs people to accept a lie, or she'll do something bad to them. And I know someone's going to say, well, she didn't kill Rambo when she threw her out of the town, but we don't know. We still got a lot of questions here. So when she gets sucked in, Sword then, Wu then contacts Sword. Sword then come in with everything, and they start to bring in specialists to deal with this situation, where we get introduced to Darcy. Now, if you don't remember who Darcy is, she is the... what was she? Well, she was just that random person in 4, 1 and 2, who they pretty much dumped in 4, 3. So not sure why they brought Darcy back. Why not just make a new character? You know, maybe it's from the comics. I'm not sure. But there you go. Darcy's back. We get a little weird scene when she's asking people what they're there for. It is a funny joke, but there you go. When Darcy gets there, she figures out what's going on, which is basically she figures out there's some sort of signal coming out of the bubble, and it turns out all she needs is an old TV where they start seeing Wandavision, the show, and everybody's very confused by this because they don't know what's going on here. So more and more into the episode, we start to see old bits from the previous episodes, like Wanda picking up plates and them not missing dinner. And anyway, that basically was just seeing old episodes on the TV with Darcy, and we're watching them to find out what's going on. We then find Rambeau in one of the episodes, and she's playing along, so it might be that Wanda is taking control of people's minds, but we are starting to see people breaking it, maybe. I'm not sure what's happening there. But with that, we then find out who the beekeeper was, he was an agent sent in by SWORD. He was in a radiation suit, but it got turned into a beekeeper suit because, again, Wanda's bubble thing, it's changing things around it so that Wanda can stay in the lie. We then see the scene with Rambeau delivering Wanda's kid, and then we see the scene of Wanda questioning Rambeau because Rambeau let slip about Ultron, and we then see that Wanda pretty much questioned her, and this is where we get pretty much the big proof that Wanda is the bad guy when she throws Rambeau out of the town. So it's definitely Wanda who is the bad guy in this episode. And I've got to admit, that was really interesting, and I'm hoping they keep that going. And I really think we are going to see Wanda losing a lot more control, because I think now that SWORD's sending in people and that Rambeau's been thrown out, we're going to find out more about what's happening inside the bubble. But I could be wrong there. But other than that, I think this was a really good episode. I actually did enjoy it. I think we are seeing Vision question a lot more. I keep saying it because I think he's going to break the programming soon. And when he does, I think Wanda and Vision are going to fight each other, because Wanda wants to live in a lie, but Vision knows you can't live in a lie like that. You have to, wake up. You have to accept reality. So I think they are going to have a massive fight over that. But that's my thoughts on this episode. Really good episode. I can't wait to see more. And the only thing that really annoys me about this episode is the time. I mean, could we get a little bit longer than 25 minutes or 30-minute episodes? It's like fucking Mandalorian all over again. Ugh. But maybe that's a good thing. When you got people asking for more content, means you're doing something right. But that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like my review, give it a like. If you didn't like my review, give it a dislike, and do subscribe if you like my content. Hail the Phantom Menace, long live CG, and fuck SJWs. Bye.